one of the things that just in management in general you learn is, people go from managing themselves, being individual contributors, to managing a team, and that's a big transition, to managing teams of teams, to finally you're managing people who are managing people who are managing teams of teams.
Exactly.
And did you find that my friend Whitney Johnson talks about jumping on S-curves? Did you find that what was that like for you when you had to step into one of these new roles and learn all this new stuff?
Yeah, it's funny. I talk about it in my book in terms of every time you take a big leap in your career, you end up at the bottom rung of the learning curve ladder, right? Exactly. Which should be expected. So it's no surprise that we get there and we think, oh my God, right? And we get imposter syndrome and we feel like, oh no, they're going to figure out I don't know what the heck I'm doing. I mean, we have all this stuff that comes flowing into our brains, right? Well, of course. And no, and they don't expect us to know everything. So the good news is just know you're not alone. Everybody feels that way. I tell people, if you don't feel uncomfortable several times within a quarter or so, then you're just not learning. Because every time you feel uncomfortable, it's really just your body's energy way of saying, okay, I don't know everything right this second. And you know what? Great. Because if you know everything every second, you are not learning and you are not pushing yourself. Mm-hmm. So it is perfectly fine to feel the, oh my God, right? Every once in a while, we should all feel it. Because then that's when you grow the absolute most as you pay attention. So, how did I deal with it? Same way everybody did. I was like, okay, first you get that sweeping feel of, they're going to figure out that I don't really know what I'm doing, right? So you get that whole imposter syndrome piece, which I do also talk about in the book. But then, the way I've always approached that is, okay, they wouldn't have given me the job if they didn't think I could do it. All right. So believe them when they tell me that I can do this job. 2, everybody feels this way at some point. So this is not unique to me. It's just something that happens. So I can kind of deal with it. 3, I try to fake it until I make it. So I just act like I know what I'm doing. And then eventually I will. So, and then the other thing I have, and I think it's so important for everybody, is to have cheerleaders. And when I say cheerleaders, Rita, I mean real cheerleaders. Rah, go, cheerleader, which is somebody you call up and you're feeling like, OMG, right? And they're the ones that say, Shellye, you're capable. You've got this. You've done X, you've done Y, you've done Z. You're perfect. I mean, they give you that whole pep talk thing, right? You need cheerleaders because so much in the world, forget just business, so much in the world is telling us, especially women and people of color, but they're telling us we're not all that all the time. We're not smart enough. We're not, we're not technical enough. We're not, thin enough. We're not pretty enough. We're not tall enough. We're not young enough. you fill in the blank. We are not enough. Okay. The world tells us that every day. Mm-hmm. So of course we need people in our corner saying, oh, yes, you are. Oh, yes, you are. Because when times are really hard, we start believing the world. Yeah. And let me tell you, the world doesn't know who you are. The world has no clue. So, you just got to put that stuff aside. You know who you are. The people who love you, they know who you are. So lean on them to remind you when you need to be reminded.